Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Six Nuts podcast. I'm your host, Dave, joined as always by my fellow nuts, Jordan Angus and Paul Borgo. Gentlemen, episode 60. It's a big one.
There you go.
This is a huge one. I would say we got a special guest that we're going to bring on. He's in the green room, and we're going to get right to it. We're not going to waste any time. That's how big this guy is, man. He is a massive guest. So I'll give him the proper introduction. I'll bring him on, and we'll have some fun. We'll do Hold My Beer as always, and then we'll do overrated, underrated, properly rated, and we're just going to have some fun. You guys ready to go?
Oh, yeah, pumped.
Roll.
All right, so this is a big one. Like when you talk about big fish,
Ah!
this is a big one. This guy is a legend in the world of stand-up comedy. He's known around the world for his larger-than-life personality, hilarious takes on family, culture, food, and for being proudly and very aggressively Greek. He's been on comedy now, Just for Laughs, The Tonight Show, and he's toured with some of the biggest names in comedy. You've seen him in films like The Score, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and he's been called the funniest Greek in the world. Please welcome to the show, Angelo Tsarouchas, everybody.
Hey, yeah. After that introduction, Dave, I'll just say thank you and bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's all you need, eh? Yeah,
That's a very nice introduction. Thanks, guys.
of course.
man.
I've
You're
made
more
an
than worthy.
8 Nuts podcast now.
Yeah.
It's the Eight Nuts podcast. So
Podcast.
I know we were having a discussion before we came on, so maybe we'll just continue that. You have some connections to Ottawa, to Montreal. You're based in LA right now,
Yeah, so
and connections to Paul as well. So maybe we'll continue that.
Paul and I we both met each other at AA in Ottawa, a long time ago.
Anonymous.
Dysfunctional. No, and so the thing. So here's the chronology: born in Montreal, raised in Ottawa.
Hey.
And then I was in the travel business, so I used to work for Government of Canada Travel Services. Then I was in Travel Cuts, University Travel. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Canadian University Travel Services.
Travel
And then
cup.
I was a director for a student work abroad program for the Government of Canada. So I did that program with Travel Cuts, and then I got into my own business in Ottawa. And then I worked corporate travel for Justice Department and External Affairs on Spark Street. Then I worked, partnered up on an agency in the Glebe, and then I got my own agency where I met Paul. I knew it was at the pharmacy on Wellington Street.
That's correct.
Wow.
It was right on Wellington Street, right across from West Park Bowling, and we had it was a little utopian village.
Oh,
in a
yeah.
rising neighborhood. I'm sure the whole
Pizza was the best, eh?
that was great. And,
Yeah.
and I think that neighborhood now is probably very expensive.
Oh, come on. My mom still lives right just down the street, like where the bagel shop is, you know?
Right.
And like that, you should see it now, man. I don't know when the last time you've been to Ottawa was before, but like all these businesses that are along Wellington Street, they've now been bought out, and they're now condos with businesses. You know,
Incredible.
it's
Whole
insane.
world.
Yeah.
Wow. Small
Like,
world.
whole world.
Angelo, you know what? I grew up on Holland Avenue at 72 Holland.
Okay,
And,
right around the corner.
Yeah, I actually bowled in a league at West Park Bowling Lanes.
West Park Bowling.
That's how much of a geek I am. And I remember the pizza that's there. That was the first pizza in the city.
Yeah.
And that was like
right.
was like the landmark. It was like,
Remember,
oh my
Dave,
god.
remember it was Hungry Sammy's?
Hungry Sammy's. And then
Yes,
there's-
yes.
Now,
Yeah.
let me ask you, do you remember Cardiff Delicatessen?
Of
Yes, I do,
course.
man.
Absolutely.
That was
man.
awesome. Like just
Yeah.
up the street.
Yeah.
So that neighborhood, because you had Tooney's Pasture,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you had Holland,
Yeah.
and then you had Wellington, which turned into Richmond Road.
Yeah.
And then you had all those, and then what's the place? Moe's.
Moe's
Moe's Diner. Yeah, Moe's Diner was there.
Moe was up where Elvis Sighting Society.
Yes,
Moe Tala.
yes.
And we used to go there, and the reporter, if you remember him, guys,
Earl McRae.
Earl McRae.
Yes.
Earl McRae. I used to see him all the time at Moe's world famous pizza place. And
Yeah,
Moe,
Crazy.
guy, you know. That's the thing. See, that's the thing about Ottawa, guys, is that sense of community. Which I go back, it's still for me, it's still the same.
It's that end of town too, because I grew up Richmond before I went to Montreal, then back here, and it's that whole Richmond neighborhood. It's all the Britannia to like Westboro.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows each other or knows somebody who knows you, and then it's. I've been in other places in Ottawa. It's nothing like the west end of town. Like it's
true, man.
Unbelievable.
And I was gonna ask, sorry, like as being one known as one of the biggest Greek guys, like, especially comedian out of Ottawa. What were your favorite places to eat? Like, you put Greek food in there, but like when you were in Ottawa, where were some?
Fuck Greek food. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now. Number one, when I go to Ottawa, Golden Palace restaurant.
Oh yes,
okay?
Sir.
First place I go.
Yeah.
Then I love Colonnade Pizza.
There's one right across from the Gold Palace now. They opened one up in that little.
Darling, I go to the one on Bank Street.
Yeah,
the new one. The original one was on Metcalf Street.
There's one right across from. There's one right across from Carlingwood now. Yeah.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
The best one still, hands down, is Bank Street. Bank Street still has the best colonnade.
Bank Street, and then I still.
Everybody says that about Bank Street Colonnade.
Yeah. Colonnade was, and then I love it. And then I would go to Lone Star for the fajitas.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I've had them in Texas, and I still think the ones in Ottawa are better.
Yeah, it's true.
And then there's a little diner, guys, on Preston Street, Meadows.
Oh, but Meadows
is
awesome. Good breakfast.
And I go there for breakfast.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of my Greek friends have some great restaurants in Ottawa too. And look, I always promote and go to Greek restaurants, but I see Ottawa. My brother's part of this motorcycle club in Montreal called Iron Spartans.
Okay.
And we grew up with Ruby and Bank and Walkley.
Yeah.
Was it Walkley?
Yeah.
Try to remember now.
Bank and Walkley. Arguably some of the best egg rolls out there.
Egg rolls, Ruby. And so Mike and his buddies, he brings these guys. These guys are like mammoths, they're massive.
Yeah.
And they'll go to Ottawa and they go, well, we're from Montreal. People don't realize there's some really good spots to eat at in Ottawa. But you gotta know where to go.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, because Mark Shepard's a good friend of mine, the guy on Supernatural. He plays Crawley.
Yeah.
He was at a Comic Con in Ottawa. So he says to me, hey, where am I going to go eat? I said, you got to go to Golden Palace. So he goes in there, and they're all geeking out on him because they know him from Supernatural. And he walked in right away. They knew him right away. And he goes, I got to tell you. He said he took he's got a picture of him on I guess it's called X now. It used to be called Twitter.
Twitter.
And he tags me saying, I'm at your happy place. A million people were like messaging. Great. And the guys told me in Ottawa, they said, I said, look, I've eaten Chinese food everywhere.
Yeah.
You cannot get those egg rolls anywhere else.
It's about it, eh? Isn't it? They're amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Bill Wong's a good friend of mine, Bill and Sam and the guys there. I mean, I've known them for
60 years they've been open.
Years. I've been going there since I was 5.
Yeah.
Well, my dad would take us, and I think everybody has those Ottawa stories. And I heard, I went to Ridgemont High School, and the place I grew up at eating was Bella Vista Pizza.
Yeah.
At Alta Vista, and they I heard sold it. After
Bella Vista Pizza?
Bella Vista Pizza.
Yeah.
On Alta Vista and Walkley, but there's so many. For me, Ottawa is nostalgic because there's so many memories, and although it's changed, it hasn't. So when I go back, I just did an event for years. I was the host of Ringside for Youth, which was the boxing event they would have at the Congress Center and stuff. And then I was just in Ottawa last month for the Hellenic Community Gold Plate.
Okay. Yeah. And
what's funny about going to Ottawa, guys, is that the guy goes, here's the difference of bringing you in to host it or do. You know everybody. So I know them by name.
Yeah,
so if we're doing an auction, I say, hey, Paul, you can put this. And the guy goes, you have that ability to directly go to the guys. Because they think, well, I've been out of Ottawa for years. But as much as I haven't been there, I'm there. I still stay in touch with my friends.
Yeah.
I still stay in touch. You know, I tell people, look, I'm from Montreal. I grew up in Ottawa. Ottawa's my hometown. And it's funny how now my wife loves it. I take my daughter there.
Yeah.
And now my daughter's 12. I'm an old dad.
Yeah.
And I take my daughter and she goes, Daddy, are we going to go get egg rolls? Like now she.
Nice.
Yeah. Of course.
I think my dad did with us, I'm doing with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how long were you in Ottawa? Like what part of your life?
Look, I went to, we came in Montreal. My dad left during FLQ crisis in Quebec. Being a Greek immigrant, you know, they thought, no, we're not going through this shit. So I came to Ottawa.
That would have been 80, 86?
No, early
90s?
No, 70.
Okay.
70.
Oh,
so
the FLQ, right. Yeah.
So he was probably 8 years old when I came to Ottawa. And then I went to Charles H. Hull's public school in Alta Vista Drive. And then I went to Alta Vista, I guess they call it middle school here. I guess I remember junior high.
Yeah.
Is that what you say it?
Junior high, yeah.
And you know, I learned, you know, this is the difference between Canada and America. That we say grade 7, they say 7th grade.
Oh, yeah.
So when you come to America and you say, I was grade 7, they go, oh, you're from Canada. I love the way
Yeah.
You know, you're from Canada, aren't you? Yeah, you're from Canada. I'm like, we're at war now.
It's like in Germany, like that's 3, you know?
That's
and here, yeah.
3. Remember Inglourious Bastard?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I got it from. Inglourious Bastard.
You said 3.
Yeah.
3, you know? But it's true, though. And those are the giveaways.
Yeah.
And then I went to Ridgemont High School. The funny thing, I went to Ridgemont High School during the time the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High came out.
Oh my God! Yes,
TV Gates, right?
That's amazing.
Sean Penn, all those guys, and then that's why we're going back. So it's and we have a page now called I went to Ridgemont in the '80s, and I was just telling David Jordan before he came on, I'm going to be at Yuck Yucks in August.
Yeah.
Because Howard Wagman's one of my oldest friends. That's where I started. Really, I went to. At 19, I left Ottawa and drove across the country in a Pontiac Parisienne convertible.
Oh my God!
With a friend of mine, it was a boat, and the door handles were in the wheel wells. And my friend Peter Carney's the one who designed. He was a automotive guy, and we drove across the country in a convertible, smoking weed, listening to George Thorogood.
That's amazing, man.
And I got a ticket, and I'll never forget, guys. I got a ticket in Saskatchewan, RCMP. It was $26, Jordan. This is before you were born. You don't even remember this. And it was $26, and I thought, $26? You trying to fuck us here? What? And I go, it's sweet. What's the big deal? You're speeding about their bit there, and we went. Yeah. I started doing comedy at Punchline Comedy.
Oh, wow.
At that time, there was only Yuck Yucks in Toronto, and there was Punchline Comedy in Water Street in Vancouver. And
that's it.
There wasn't a club yet in Ottawa. The Yuck Yucks hadn't opened yet. That was the first one. And then I'd come back. We sold the car. And then I come back to Ottawa, and then they opened a club. And that's where I met Howard Wagman at Yuck Yucks. And that's 40 years ago, guys.
Wow.
40 years ago.
So did you have like right now in Ottawa, there's a ton of open mics you can go to and, you know, hone your craft and work on your comedy. What was it like? Like you had to drive to Toronto if you wanted to do comedy?
No. So what happened once it had opened in Ottawa, I went. Yeah. So what they call New Talent Night was called Amateur Night.
Yeah.
And how they did it before they gave it a dedicated night. Thursday, the regular headliner would come do a full show. After the show on Thursday was amateur night.
Oh my God!
So
wow.
Let me give you the lineup for amateur night in Ottawa when I started. Norm Macdonald, Jeremy Hotz, Lisa Gay Tremblay, Brett Weir, Brad Lyons, Denny Grignon, and then later on, Tom Green would show up. Friends. And when I went on Last Comic Standing a few years ago, I would see Norm, but Norm was different. Norm was a headliner on New Talent Night.
Yeah.
I remember doing that. We did a show together at Butson's Motor Inn, Renfrew, Ontario.
Oh my God.
And my friend Nick Dellis, God rest his soul, he
Man.
passed away this year. He had a van. Nick used to work for Carpet Laying Company. So he had one of those the vans with your 2 seats. So he took a milk crate and put it in the middle with a blanket, and Norm sat in that because we needed a ride to the gig. So we went to the gig, and Norm was like, "Yeah, this is a real luxury. We're gonna go to Carpet van. I mean, what a pedophile van with 2 Greeks." And I remember doing that. And it was so funny. And then I was with him the night he had done Just for Laughs. And I go, "Where are you going, Norm?" He goes, he was going to LA to do the Pat Sajak show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had a talk show.
Remember, he had a talk show for a minute.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Norm did Pat Sajak show. That didn't last, but Letterman saw the performance. So Letterman wanted him to come on Letterman. He says, "I don't have enough." "No, just come and do the same set." And that's where his friendship started with Letterman. So beat up years later, I would run into him sometimes in Hollywood. And I remember one time, I'm not dropping names here.
No, drop it, please.
One night I was at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. So I was doing a showcase. I had to do a showcase for, I had a development deal with Vince Vaughn. I was touring with Vince Vaughn.
Wow.
While it was comedy.
Yeah, he was doing a comedy tour there for a while.
That's right. And I was working with Bill Burr and Steve Byrne, John Favreau, and I was on that tour with those guys.
Oh.
And the way Vince would do it, it was Vince would come out as the host, and then it was a comic skit, and the finale. That's how Vince did it. And Bill Burr had developed the show F is for Family for Netflix. Steve Byrne had Sullivan and Son on TBS. I was the third show, the Angelo show, which was a Greek barber in Toronto who the business has gone to shit, but I run a bookie out of the back. We were ahead of our time. I was a bookie out of the back of the barber shop, but the barber shop was the front. And Vince, and what happened, we were ready to shoot it. Howard Busgang was the writer, another Canadian comic, with Tom Nursel. What happened, we were ready to make the show. It was Bell Media, CTV with USA Network. Yep. But then that's the year Bell Media, remember they laid off 1,200 people and shut the division down. And we lost that opportunity, unfortunately. But I remember that one night I saw Norm. I was at the Laugh Factory. And what happened, here's a funny story for comics. Yeah. So I had to showcase for Hollywood, for CAA, for USA Network executives, and Vince's people were there. Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie on Christmas Story.
Okay.
Remember Ralphie from Christmas Story? You shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah.
That's his partner. So they were there that night. So the way they do it in Hollywood, I don't know, to showcase, you got to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock, because these guys, they don't go to the clubs. Right. So I was doing an IG tour in Canada, Investors Group. So the night before, now my daughter's 3 months old. The night before, I'm in Owen Sound, Ontario.
Oh my God!
Way the fuck up there.
Yeah.
There's a snowstorm.
Oh,
I'm driving back to Toronto. I'm staying at my buddy Russell Peters' house. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
I've heard.
I stayed at Russell's house. I take the 6 a.m. flight from Toronto to LA. The time change. I get to LA. I come home. I got my young daughter, my wife. I take a nap. I wake up. I got to go to the club. Now, what happened? I was set to do a showcase. Now, Tim Allen was warming up his act for to do Vegas. And Jamie Masada, the owner of the Laugh Factory, said, "Okay, what we're going to do, we already had you scheduled, so we're going to put you on Tim's show." So, okay. So I just need 15 minutes. So when you showcase for these guys, you need that 15 minutes. Like, this is pivotal for me because they want, even though we're in cahoots with them, we still want to make sure they want to see you on stage. You know, they want that. They got nothing else to fucking do. They want to verify it.
Yeah.
I get to the club, and upstairs at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, they have the sort of the VIP area. There's Drew Carey, and there's
Oh my God.
Tim Allen. Now their manager is Rick Messina. He's a legendary manager, and that's both. And I guess Drew just popped in. So Rick Messina, it was Court McCown was the host, a very funny comic, good friend of mine. So it's supposed to be Court McCown, me, then Tim Allen. So then the girl, his assistant, says, "Well, this Angelo guy's going to go on." He goes, "No other guy going on the show. It's Tim's show tonight." And I get wind of it. Now I was just in Owen Sound. I got up early. I got a 2-month-old baby. I'm trying to make a TV show. So I went up to him. I go, "Hey, you're Rick?" And this guy's fucking massive. I go, "Let me tell you something. I'm going on that fucking stage tonight. I don't care if they introduce me or don't introduce me. I got 15 minutes, motherfucker. I'm going to the fucking stage. Yeah. I got a 2-month-old baby. I'm on the fucking edge. I don't need your fucking."
That's amazing, man.
He's just looking at me because nobody would talk to a man.
Yeah, nobody ever.
And I looked over and I said, "No offense to Price is Right or Buzz Lightyear, but I'm fucking going on." and Drew Carey, I'll never forget. He goes, "Hey man, I'm just here to hang out." And Tim Allen, to his credit, a solid guy, goes, "No, he saw it." I said, "Tim, you and Drew know you've been where I've been," and they were like, they're both comics.
Yeah.
I said, "I need this."
Yeah.
And Tim Allen was fucking cool. He goes, No, you go do your thing.
Yeah.
He saw the edge of it. So later, my friend Craig Zucker, there was a Greenblatt's Deli next door, and my manager at the time was Arthur Spivak, who was also with Paul Reiser's manager when he was at Mad About You.
Mad About You, yeah.
We were there, and they went to Greenblatt's. Jamie Masada and Rick Messina, Art Spivak, and my friend Craig goes, "Hey, did you see my boy Angelo Tsarouchas? What'd you think?" He goes, "That guy just told me to go fuck myself." Nobody's told me to fuck myself in 30 years.
That's right where you needed to go.
Yeah. And you know what came out? You know what I was thinking at that moment? Ottawa Valley hockey. I'm gonna pull a sweater over his fucking head and start playing.
Wanna fucking go, bud? Yeah.
What's going on? And you know what's funny? I think the guy said it, and then Drew Carey said to me, "Dude, that was funny. Price is Right, Buzz Lightyear."
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Amazing.
Because I was so angry. I go, no disrespect to Price is Right or Buzz. What was I saying there? These guys are successful.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
They've made millions. I need to make this fucking show happen.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes in Hollywood, and when Vince found out about it, he was fucking laughing. He goes, "Did you tell him to fuck off?" I said, "Yeah, I didn't mean it like maliciously." I'm like, dude.
You're just heated. You're heated.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
You got to fight for it sometimes.
Hey, man. You're telling us.
Fucking
Yeah. I saw you.
Sorry.
Speaking about your hockey, where you brought up there, I love your joke about if Greeks played hockey, the name would start on their ankle and go all the way up the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I played in the Greek Hockey League. So we have a GCHL, Greek Canadian Hockey League. At the time, I put 8 teams in Ottawa, believe it or not. And I was at that time, Dave, I'm probably 325 pounds. I could skate. And when they wanted to put my number in the back, I put 747. And my friends still laugh at me. I'm still leading penalty minute holder, I think.
I guess so.
Yeah. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you. I gotta go back to your start in Ottawa, Angelo, because they say it takes a lot of reps to get good, and it takes years and years. I can't imagine like if you had one spot a week, like after a show.
Yeah.
Like, were you funny right from the beginning, or did it take you a while? Like how did that process work?
Well, it took a while. So you got to understand when I started at Yuck Yucks, and eventually what I did is I became the bartender there.
Okay.
I worked as a bartender. So Howard, what he would do, you get the 5 minutes or so. So sometimes Howard would take over the bar and goes, "Okay, go do." That's how I got more slots.
Okay.
For the regular shows. Big John, BJ Woodbury was at the door. I worked as a bartender.
This was on Albert, right?
Howard Wagman.
No, on Albert Street.
On Albert Street, 88 Albert Street.
Yeah.
It was called Beacon Arms Hotel, and it's on Capitol Hill.
I saw you there. I saw Mitch Hedberg there.
Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
And so 1986, I got 5 minutes of material. I've been working. And Howard goes, look, they're bringing this comic from LA here, Sam Kinison.
Holy fuck.
Oh my goodness.
We want now, you gotta understand, guys, there's no internet. We don't know who he is. Is it Sam Kinison?
Oh my God.
Mark Breslin was now the talent coordinator for the Joan Rivers Late Show.
Right.
And I guess Mark was bringing him to Canada for special engagement. So Howard goes, okay, we're bringing him for one night to Ottawa. I'm going to give you you open for 5 minutes. Okay. So I went. And, it's like I thought another comic, but he's American.
Yeah.
So I met him. Hey, man, how's it going? Hey, seem normal. I did my 5 minutes. I had a girlfriend, Joanne or something. She was with me that night. Then he gets on. And if somebody says, if there's one thing that changed your life as a comedian, well, for me, it was opening for Sam Kinison.
I guess.
In Ottawa. And then it was like, what the fuck is this? You're the food.
Yeah.
Fuck, necrophilia.
No.
And half the Ottawa crowd walked out.
Wow.
Half the crowd walked out. And then the next 2 nights he was there, it was sold out. And that's when they used to review comedy. Evelyn Erskine for The Citizen would review comedy. So I was like, I'd seen a lot of comics. Lawrence Morgenstern, legend Canadian comic. You had Larry Horowitz, all these great comics out of Toronto. Mike McDonald, fucking legend.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Jordan's a big fan of Mike McDonald.
I love Mike McDonald.
And I mean, there's so many amazing comics I would watch, which I think a lot of comics don't do anymore. But when Kinison showed up, I was like, and then we went in those days after the shows. We used to go to a nice deli called Nate's on Rideau Street.
Oh yeah.
Down on
Legendary
Rideau.
deli.
Was it on Rideau?
Absolutely.
And Rideau Street, and I miss it.
Yeah.
I put Nate's Deli up against any fucking deli in North America.
I went there with my mom once. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, long time ago.
I love Schwartz, but I got to tell you, Nate's Deli was epic. Another place, too bad it's not there anymore. And I remember sitting there, and Sam Kinison's talking, and I'm just looking at him.
Wow.
I was, at that time, what was I, 20 years oldish, something? And I'm sitting there going, this guy is fucking amazing. Like I never seen anything like it. I don't think anyone in Ottawa had seen anything like Sam Kinison. And think about it. Now, because you look back, right, you see Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that happened and how big he became. Imagine being in Ottawa at that moment where no internet, no cell phone.
No, nothing.
No fucking clue with the guy. And then this guy gets up.
Yeah.
And you're like.
Yeah, you're blown away.
Yeah,
when I saw Mitch Hedberg, man, I was like, he was my favorite comedian at the time. He still is. And when I knew that he was coming to Yuck Yucks, I asked my sister if she could take me because I was 15, 16 at the time. And I mean, no internet, no videos, no I can't go through my phone now without scrolling past a Mitch Hedberg clip, which I like, but still, you can imagine how they had to become as famous as they are back in the day. You know what I mean? Like that's just through word of mouth.
Yeah. No Instagram, no TikTok.
Yeah.
So it was you earned it up from there. And I've had this. It's an interesting topic because some people tell me there's a lot of people, especially during COVID, that went viral with their videos, right?
Yeah.
And now they're comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I was at the Sydney Comedy Festival in Sydney, Australia. And they had a group of kids, good guys, young guys, had big following on social media. And they're doing the big theater. They sold out like 1,500 tickets. The thing was they didn't have a live show. So they thought they could recreate. Now, and I'm not slagging on it because I make videos too, but what happens if you put a video out on Instagram or TikTok, you can retake it 30, 40 times till you get it the way you want.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're live on stage, there's no fucking retake. You got to do it. So these guys are going up.
That's a good point.
Had the audience.
That's good.
Right? They had the audience, but they couldn't execute. So the guy goes, look, can you go on and do 30 minutes? We'll pay you before them to get the crowd. It's almost
Warm
like
them up.
filler to warm them up. And then I sat down with them. I said, guys, because I've had theater experience. And I said, guys, you got to figure out a way to turn this into a live show.
Yeah.
I think they thought they could just go, and some promoters are greedy. They'll just put you up. Well, these guys got 40 million followers, and they did fill it up. But what happens? People now think, okay, these guys are live comedians or trained, and they're not. So I think what's happening now, there's a lot of performers who have very big success, Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. But I think when it comes down to a live performance, like in a comedy club or a theater or an event, I think what happens is that maybe they're lacking. And that's what you were asking, Dave, about putting in the time. I think I've told all these guys, you're only as good as how many times you're on stage.
Yep.
So you need to get on stage. And that's it. And I would tell people, just find an amateur night, find a comedy club, create a night, go to your local pub and say, look, on Tuesday nights, right? Go on Tuesday nights. I want to rent the space. I did it in Toronto, like the Greeks on Danforth. Yeah. Joanna Downey, R.I.P. Joanna. I said, Tommy, do you want to do at the Eaton Tavern on Danforth Avenue? How about Tuesday nights? Because Joanna Downey did a legendary nighter at Spirits in Toronto on Wednesdays. So my friend Tommy, the Greeks wanted to do something too. I go, look, I'll get her to come in. Let's negotiate the price for her. And it gave comics, and then it became very popular. Yeah. And then the locals would come. So it gave you another place to work your material.
Yeah.
Like tonight, I'm going to go to the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach.
Yeah.
Because I'm with those guys. And then Saturday night, I'm going to go to the Laugh Factory in Long Beach.
I got a show tonight, too. I think Jordan does, too, right?
Yeah, right. So
tonight, no, tomorrow. I'm on tomorrow. But that's it, right? You put your work in.
You got to sharpen the pencil, right? So that's what I'm saying. So, and then next week I'm going on vacation. I'm taking the family. We're going to Greece and Armenia. So
nice. You go back to Sparta?
I'm going to Sparta, Thessaloniki.
Yeah.
Then we're going to Yerevan, Armenia. My wife's Armenian.
Oh, my God.
Crete,
Nice.
And then Athens. I need to take a break.
The Dafini Day festival that you put on there.
Dafini.
Dafini, yeah, sorry, yeah. Is that's what's going on?
It's a little village, right?
Yeah, it's where your father.
That's where my dad's from.
Yeah.
So when I was in Melbourne, Australia, when my dad emigrated to Canada in 1949. So a lot of these people knew my dad when they left Greece. Imagine 15 years old. He came through Pier 21 in Halifax. And I'll tell you a funny story about that. And then I went to Australia. I met these people that were my dad's cousins and stuff that they hadn't seen each other ever again. And I got nostalgic. I said, why don't we do a World Dafni Day? So I said, we'll do a reunion kind of thing in Dafni, this little village of 900 people where people dispersed all around the world. Germany, UK, South Africa, Canada, US, Australia. So this was 2019. Thank God it wasn't 2020. So 2016, what I did, I built the page on Facebook with the picture of the church and go, World Dafni Day. Anybody connected to, friends of, or related to is open to come to this day. So I picked August 15th, 2019. August 15th is it's a patron saint day in Greece.
Yeah.
Mary, Peter, it's a name day. Peter, Maria, Despina, my mom's name. So I figured maybe we'll get a couple hundred people to come from around the world in there because it's a big, big holiday in Greece. Yeah. And then come to the day, and my daughter was, about 7 at the time. Over 2,000 people showed up.
Oh, unbelievable.
From all over the place. And
wow.
People, and they were and I really think and when they asked me about World Dafni Day, and I did a show. So imagine they put a stage in the middle of this Greek village in the center of the town, and then the kids came out and did a dance. The little local they were very proud.
That's cool.
my dad's from.
Amazing.
And then what happened? I didn't think they wanted to tell me how many people were there because the Greeks probably thought I was going to shake them down for some cash. I would never do. So they're like, well, no, we had some people. And then it was, guys, it was 100. It was about 35 Celsius.
Oh my goodness.
At night. And I was fucking dripping. And they go, what do you want to do? I said, well, I don't know. So they gave me the mic. They had a stage, 2,000 people. And it was one of those things where I just poured out. Like, it was kind of comedy, kind of coming home. This is where my dad's from. This is where my roots are from. And then I said the reason I did this day, I wanted to show my daughter where.
Was it in English? Were you performing in English, Angelo?
English and Greek.
Yeah, okay.
Because the Greeks speak a lot of Greek and English. So they speak a lot of English now in Greece. We had to go to fucking Greek school. And then I go to Greece, and now they're all talking English. I'm like, fuck that.
What a waste.
Yeah.
So we did this big day, and then it got national news attention in Greece and in Australia because the whole idea of going to this village where my dad's from. And the only reason I did it, guys, honestly, was I wanted my daughter to see her roots.
Where she's from.
Amazing.
Where she's from. And it was really, to me, important. So it was 35 Celsius. It was just, I was smoking a stogie. Like the Greeks, you know, in the old days, you could do that even in Ottawa, not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been doing Greek. You're obviously known as the Funny Greek, funnygreek.com, by the way. So I'm interested to know, like, did you do Greek-related material right away, like right off the bat, or did you kind of evolve into that?
I did some. So here's the deal. I never call myself the Funny Greek. It was Evelyn Erskine from the Ottawa Citizen who said this Funny Greek is hilarious. So it caught. I never said Funny Greek.
That's hilarious.
I said Angelo Tsarouchas, because before me there was Lou Dinos, who's a Greek Macedonian comedian in Canada. There wasn't many. I saw him on the Alan Hamill show, like fucking way back.
Oh my God, that's going back.
Way back. And I thought, oh, he can do it. I can do it. And I'm friends with Lou. He just lives over here, not far from me.
Okay.
And we've done shows together still. And he used to open for Howie Mandel for years.
Oh, God.
So the thing is this, is that the Funny Greek, so here's the shows I got now. And this is where I tell people, when I was in business, comedy, anything you do, you got to diversify the investment. So I have the mainstream regular show that I do, like the Canadian show or the American show, or if I play Carolines or improv, you know, then I have the Greek diaspora show. And that's taken me around the world. So that's growing up Greek outside of Greece. I'm fluent in Greek, and that appeals to an audience of people that, like me, who grew up in Canada or America or Australia or South Africa or Europe or fuck wherever.
Yeah.
And there's a whole audience there. And then I have a cruise show that I do on live cruises.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So I work, because that's kind of the new role. And you know, it's funny. Just last week, I was in Juneau, Alaska, and Dave Hempstead, who's a good friend of mine, Canadian comedian, he was in Juneau. And I forgot that John Doerr, another Ottawa guy, lives in Juneau.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So we were there putting him back, and then I was getting off the ship, and Dave goes, "Are you on the ship, Ange?" You go, "Yeah." He goes, "Fuck, I'm here with John Doerr." Oh shit! So I got off at the time. So we went we went to this Salty Dog Cavern in Juneau.
Yeah.
And John is with his wife. She's I think she's a therapist, and she's a crisis counselor in Juneau, Alaska. And they help a lot of people.
I bet they do.
A good Ottawa boy. And then John was going to the airport. He was going to do a show in Halifax. And I thought, well, I mean, look where comedy's taking me to places I didn't even go to as a travel agent.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Along the way. You know,
and you're meeting people that you did comedy with in these places.
On other places.
Yeah.
So that's why. So you get the cruise gigs are good. The only problem I have with cruise gigs is once the gig's done, I want to leave.
Yeah, I guess.
No, you can't. You can go back to your cabin.
You
gotta stay there sometimes. People come
good money though, right?
What's that?
It's good money though, right? On when you're doing cruise.
It's good money.
Yeah.
But you go to the smoking area after. Who pays your travel?
Yeah.
I have a good joke for you, and they're always racist fucking jokes.
Yeah.
I can't use that, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
Good way
you
to
know,
clear,
there's-
good way to clear out a cruise ship. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're, and then and one thing I'll tell you right now, and I tell all comedians, do not talk politics.
Oh,
Not on an American cruise.
ever.
They cannot
Don't ever
handle
talk
it.
You know?
Canadians are much more open to it. In Canada, I can come to Canada. I'm comfortable. I can talk about Paul Revere. I can talk about Trudeau. Canadians are, okay.
Yeah.
Not in America.
Man, no. I don't talk about politics anywhere. First of all, I don't know shit.
You got guys, and then you got fuck.
Yeah.
I said one thing, Paul. This is what I said. I said 2 years ago. I said, I didn't even say their names. I said, in America, 370 million people, and the only guys we have running for president are the two old guys from the Muppets.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this woman comes up to me after and goes, Trump's a crook. I go, I didn't even say his name.
Yeah.
I didn't even say his name right away. So you can't even on a side dish talk about it. They get all upset about it. So I don't touch it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. Like, we've actually skipped hold our beer, but whatever. This is amazing. Yeah. So you've obviously, Angelo, you've been in movies. You've been with some of the most world famous comedians. So you've been, obviously associated with a lot of very famous people. Was there ever a moment where you said, "How the hell did I get here?" Like in a good way.
Every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
What about the first time?
He's saying it right now. I'll tell you that. He's on the phone.
Yeah, you're like,
how did I get here?
I said, how did I get on the 6 Nuts podcast? How the fuck did this happen?
Yeah.
It's, Dave, I'll tell you something. Every comedian experiences self-doubt. And it does not, I can tell you firsthand, doesn't matter what level you're at. I see it. I got friends, huge comedians who fill up arenas and stadiums. And I got other guys who, and the thing is that it's almost crazy sometimes. Like, I'll do a show and people come up to you and they're happy to see you and you take pictures with them or they buy your merch, and then you're driving back to the hotel going, I don't know, like, how the fuck, how did I end up in Piscataway, New Jersey? How did I end up in Auckland, New Zealand? How did I end up in Berlin, Germany? It goes. You're right. It's you. So what I try to do is say, look, you've worked. You got to convince yourself and say to yourself, I've worked hard to get here. People like what you're doing. Just keep doing it. Keep getting better at it. Keep trying to improve it.
Yeah.
But I think the self-doubt. There's days I want to quit. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's days
today, even today.
Even today, because what happens,
really,
I love the comedy. I hate the fucking travel.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I was working. I had to leave Burbank Airport. I'm closer to Burbank. I had to fly Burbank, Seattle to Juneau, Alaska.
It's ironic, eh? You owned a travel agency and you hate travel.
And I'm traveling more now. So what happened? We get on Alaska Airlines. We take off, and then the pilot comes on and says, "Oh, there's something wrong with the wing. We're going to land in San Francisco." Okay. Oh. Hey, we land. No problem. We land. Delay. Canceled. Now I'm trying to get to Juneau. I finally get on. They cancel. Get on. I go to Alaska. There's a 10:45 red eye to Juneau. I get in at 1:30 in the morning. Now we're at 13 and a half hours. We should have taken me 5.
Jesus.
Or 4. So now I get to Juneau Airport. Now it's 1:30 in the morning. Now, it's a new flight. No Uber, no Lyft, no fucking taxi. Now I'm waiting at 1:30 in the morning. It's chilly. I left LA. It was 83 degrees. It's now 37 Fahrenheit, which is about 3 Celsius.
Yeah.
Big change.
Yeah.
We're Canadians, man. I got my jacket. I'm waiting, looking for a taxi. Nothing. The guy shows up, drops him up. There's another couple. Hey, we worked it out. 2:30 in the morning, I get to the hotel. Then I get, fine, I'm here. Next day, I get up. The ship's in the dock. I walk to the ship, go to Vancouver, come back. Now, from there, I got to go. On the way back, Juneau, Anchorage, Phoenix, Arizona. I have a show that night. Then the next day on Friday, Phoenix to LA. I have a show in LA Friday night.
Yeah.
After the show Friday, I get my wife to drive me to LAX. I got to go LA, Dallas, New Jersey. I got a show that night. And then the next morning, 6 a.m., I haven't slept in 3 days. Now I got to fly on a direct flight, United, back to LA. So I'm doing a special appearance at the LA Greek Film Festival. They're celebrating Costa Hobris, the Gavras, and all these things. So in 4 days, I've slept. So I'm grateful that I'm doing this stuff. Bless you. I'm grateful. But sometimes you wake up, all Marriott hotels look the same.
Yeah.
You're going back and forth at the airport.
So you'll take the wind out of your sails for sure.
You're
Right?
just going. So you're trying to. That's where people go. Do you smoke weed anymore? You drink? Maybe do it when I'm home, but when you're on the road now, I find it's too hard now because you got to be sharp. You got to get up.
Yeah.
And then you go. I shower and shave before I leave every time, and just in case I get delayed. Sometimes in Vegas once, we're going from Burbank to Reno. I was working in Reno at the Laugh Factory, and Southwest. The guy comes on. Oh, the plane got hit by lightning. Don't worry, we're gonna wait for it. What the fuck? I'm not getting on a fucking plane that got hit by lightning. And then we got to the venue at 7:30 show with Steve Von Hagen, and I had my suitcase and luggage. We went right into the comedy club, and I was in my sweatpants, and I just went on stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, that's showbiz.
Wow. So what keeps you motivated to keep doing it?
Mortgage, family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I love doing it.
Before you did this, I'm sure there was a time where you're like, "Fuck, I want to get into comedy." Like I want to get into comedy. I want to do this. And like
always itched me.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
There
Like comedy is.
The quote you had, there comes a time where one must, chase their dreams or sit, or what was it? I have it written down here. When one must risk everything or sit with one's dreams forever, right?
Forever. And you know what? I had a bad breakup in Ottawa.
Yeah.
A bad break. You remember? And then lost everything.
Yeah.
And then had a beat up Buick and $900, and I went to Toronto. Jesus. And I said, you know what? I fuck it. I mean, what?
Yeah. It's funny how the worst fucking things in your world can birth such a, like, look at you now, man. Like, I mean, you're talking up, but like,
for it.
And
it's a good point because I've had a lot of people tell me this. They go, look, I did a TED talk and I talk about, I lived in my car for a couple of days in Toronto. I couldn't find a place.
Jesus.
$900. And I said, you know what? And somebody asked me, would you do it again? Probably yes, I would do it again because you got to love it though.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people, Paul, will see people, actors, comics, athletes. Yeah. And I always tell them, oh, my son wants to be a comic. Say no 4 times.
Yeah.
If they still want to do it, that means they're serious.
Yeah.
Because you're going to eat shit.
Yeah.
Every night you're going to eat shit. I had a car, and I would take the guys, how I got with Yuck Yucks, because, I lost everything, and I thought I'll go to the secure world of comedy. And then I went to Toronto, and I was living in a basement in an apartment. And then what I did, I went to Yuck Yucks. Howard opened it up with Evan Edelman and those guys. And they say, okay, you want to host the show? You have a car? We'll give you $150. You got to drive the guys. So I kept my car running, the comedy, and I would drop the guys off at their houses. I'll drive you home, guys.
Oh my God.
The guys go, we'll go with Angelo because he picks us up and drop Mike
Oh,
Wilmot.
cool. Yeah, you know these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, okay. I would host, and I just kept doing it. Doing it. And then as a host, then I got better. And then the Greek thing just happened. That, I started doing the Greek shit. And then that was equal parallel. But what I just kept doing that. So the guys were like, then the agents knew, well, some of the comics didn't have a car. So Ange has a car. Well, we'll go with Ange. So we'll meet. So and I got to work with Tim Nutt. I got to work with Mike Wilmot, Derek Edwards, all these comics that were really good fucking comics, man.
I
watched them. And these guys were great. And we're friends. And I thought, these are great comedians, great Canadian comedians. Lawrence Morgenstern, Larry Horowitz. The list goes on.
That's so cool.
And the thing was, I would watch them, listen in the car, go Norm Macdonald, as you know. And then it's so funny how I think what happened after a while, the more then I got a little more confident. Then I started to write more stuff, experience more stuff. Then I got an agent. Then I got a commercial, Ford commercial. Then I started doing films. Then I was on a pizza commercial. At one point in Canada, I was in 5 national commercials. Delicious Pizza with the Mob Guys, Quaker Oats, Rogers Cable.
I remember that. I fucking remember that.
Man.
Listen, man,
Wow.
when I was watching Harold Kumar, I remember seeing it in the theaters. And I remember like in the scene where you're like, "Get the fuck out of the road!" I'm like, "Who that guy?" Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
It was more like,
before.
Dude, you fucking retarded.
And then when I saw you in the Art of War, I remember seeing it. I'm like, I fucking think I know that guy. Like this, you're the truck driver, right?
That's right, the truck driver.
Yeah, I ended up purposely. I bought the movie for VHS just because you were in it. You know, like I still have it at my mom's house. Yeah.
My brother plays the cop. Remember, we finds all the people.
Yeah.
It's my brother, Mike.
Yeah, but man, you did like the score, like the recruit. I watched the recruit the other day to try to find you. I guess they cut you out at one of the scenes, eh?
I think they cut. I had the scene with Colin Farrell. We're taking it to the headquarters.
Yeah,
and that's what happens.
Dude, Christ, man, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Denzel Washington, like you've
Russell Crowe
been around, man.
Russell Crowe,
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
with Nick Campbell, and then I worked on John Q with Denzel Washington.
Right, yeah,
a whole bunch of them. I mean,
Blue Mountain State. You were in Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan. You know what's funny? I filmed that.
Yeah.
And people would stop me about how about I jerk you off with a bottle and shit. And you know, we filmed that in Montreal. I'd never seen it.
No.
So I'm at the airport. The guy's looking at me like this. He goes, "Hey, were you on Blue Mountain State?" Yeah. Yeah, we saw the episode and I took pictures with them, right? And you know, Blue Mountain State has a whole following. I finally got to see it, which is a funny scene because I think I nailed the guy. The guy tells him, you know, if a big guy's going to fight with you, tell me you want to jerk him off, he'll back up, and I knock him out. Yeah. He's in the ambulance going to the next scene. But it's funny how a lot of times you'll film stuff and you forget about it because you're just kind of busy.
Yeah. Oh,
so which do you prefer, stand-up comedy or acting in movies?
For me, the dream, which I've gotten close to, would be to have my own sitcom show or be a great character actor. And then when I'm not doing that, do the stand-up.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That is a dream. Yeah, that's how can you talk that?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's close. With Vince, we almost had it, you know, Vince Vaughn. Because I remember doing this is weird. And again, I got a friend now who's a publisher in LA. He goes, "You got to write a book. You have to write a book." I'm in Saudi Arabia. Okay, it's haram. You're not supposed to do comedy. You're not with Sebastian Maniscalco and Dean Edwards of SNL.
Fuck
my God.
It's the three of us doing shows. And it was underground. And how they sold tickets on Facebook, there was an ice cream shop in Riyadh. So you got to understand.
It's all water. It's all water.
In a country like Saudi Arabia,
oh my
it's
God.
not so much the comedy. They don't want single men and single women together.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So we would do at the Venezuelan embassy. It's the DQ, Diplomatic Quarter compound in Riyadh. And 5,000 people would show up. And there's Sebastian, me, and Dean Edwards. And the Venezuelan ambassador comes out and he shows a 5-minute film of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Travel night. And we have a comedy show. Because they were supposed to. And then people come up and I told somebody this, they go, "What?" I go, "Yeah." So almost got arrested. Maybe that's another podcast. Because I was selling DVDs. And they said, "Don't bring them." But when I said, "Fuck, I'm going to bring it." You know, I'm Greek, fucking Canadian. I got to the airport in Riyadh. It was during Eid, which is their religious holiday. They're all white. Here I am with Iron Maiden shirt.
In Saudi Arabia. That's amazing.
He comes up to me with a cigarette. He goes, "Iron Maiden, best rock and roll band ever." I go,
"That's amazing."
Takes me to the front. Now I'm in Saudi. I'm like, I'm fucked. I get to the front and I'm over 400 pounds. He goes, "How many baby? You got 2 or 3 baby?" And they're all laughing. So they're all laughing at my stomach. My bag's going through the X-ray machine. They're not paying attention. They're all looking at my gut laughing. So the guy, how'd you get the DVDs in? I go, fuck, I don't know. They kept saying I was pregnant. I played along with it. So I'm selling DVDs after. But then what happened after the show? You're not supposed to. I thought I was illegal. They don't want the boys and girls together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Matawa shows up, and I'm like, fuck. You know the way in the movies with the jeeps and the guns and the lights.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there going, oh, I'm fucked. I thought because I'm selling haram, I'm selling DVDs of Western.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all sold out. They're on the. So I'm standing there. They all ran. I'm not running. I don't run. And Sebastian, those guys, and then Peter Howarth Lees, who's a British promoter who lives there, goes, don't worry, mate. If they put you in jail, we'll bail you out in the morning. What the fuck you talking about, dude? They cut hands and shit there. I'm sitting there.
Unreal.
And the Canadian ambassador was there, the Greek ambassador, and the American ambassador. So the guy comes up to me, and they always say, keep your passport in your pocket. So the guy walks up, and they're all talking. They arrested 30, 40 kids, I heard. I'm standing there, and he comes up to me, and I go, passport. And I pull up my passport, guys, and I got my Canadian passport. I go, Canada. He goes, Canada. The guy comes over, and this is what he does. Takes my passport, looks at it, and he goes, Canada? I go, I'm shitting. Canada. He goes, Canada. My brother, he lives in Toronto.
Oh, my God.
CN Tower.
Oh, my God.
I swear to God, this is what he says, CN Tower, Niagara Falls, Tim Horton.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Hortons.
I'm like, fucking.
Oh, my
counting.
God.
Yeah.
That's something in Arabic, the guns go down.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and Canada, he's telling me, I guess he just went there. His brother's there.
Yeah.
Thank God. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And he goes over and he goes, and then he gives me the passport. He goes, how many baby? 2, 3 baby? And they're all fucking laughing. They're obsessed with my gut.
Fuck off, guys. Yeah.
And Sebastian's like, what the fuck did that guy say to you? I go, I fucking showed him my Canadian passport. Turns out his brother lives in Toronto.
Oh,
He went to the CN Tower. He went to Niagara Falls. And he loves Tim Hortons. I go, that Tim Hortons good.
Wow.
Good.
Unreal.
That's awesome.
Donuts. I go, fucking
Crazy.
thank God I'm Canadian. But imagine, I don't know what's going to happen. And that was what. So I ran into Sebastian about 1.5 years ago, and he goes, "What the fuck happened that time when he goes, I've said that story. Nobody believes me."
How do we still have hands?
My God.
It's just fucking because we weren't supposed to be doing shows, and Sebastian's funny. I saw him a couple of years ago. So we do a Canada show at the Comedy Store. He goes, "What the fuck were we doing there?" But they're paying us a lot of money to go there.
Yeah.
And as a comic, you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
They're paying,
Absolutely.
right, Jordan? If they're giving you the cash, go.
Oh, fuck it.
Absolutely.
I'll be there.
Wow. Well, Angelo, I know you got to go, but do you have time for one more question before we get to final thoughts?
I'm sorry I maybe got you guys off your...
No, this has been amazing.
Fantastic.
It's
I like
great
stories. Man. I feel
man. I bet you could go on forever. I love it. Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's been great. Final question. Yes. Advice for comedians. What advice would you give to news comedian, however far along they are? What is the one piece of advice you would give to a comedian?
I think we brought it up earlier, and I think Jordan echoed this. Get on stage as much as you can. Yeah. And I think, Jordan, you nodded. I think, do you create your own night? Do you have your own night?
He does tons, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So the thing is, I always tell people, because some people are in small towns or small places, and I always say this: you're only as good as many times as you can do it. So what I did when I lived in Toronto, even in Ottawa, I was just in Calgary in I think March, and the guys had a new talent night the night before, and they go, "Ange, we're just taking a long shot. If you're here, will you come and do a set?" Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
And I said, sure. And they were really, I said, yeah, I'll do it because I remember it doesn't matter. I had some new bits I was trying to try out. So I figured, let me try them on the new talent night because, people don't expect, they want to go. And if a couple of them grab, I can do it on my regular show. So the one piece of advice I always tell people is, if you get thoughts, the nice thing about these new cell phones, they have notes. So I'm still, I'm still the guy who has the pad.
I do that too. Pen and paper. You have to do
There's
pen and
something
paper.
about writing it to your brain. But sometimes, if I'm in an airplane or something, I don't have my pen on me. I just take notes.
Yep.
And just you put it down like I'll say egg rolls, Ottawa, or wife, Costco, whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
And I'll write it down, and then later I'll revisit, going, because sometimes you got a really good thought and you forget. So good thoughts and stuff, write them down. But the only secret, there's no secret. The only thing I tell people, try to get on stage as much as you can.
Yep.
And you got to, if you have to drive to Kempville or Stittsville or Carp, fucking drive. What you do? Go do it. I did that. We would go to Hawkesbury. We would go to Castleman. We would go to
Renfrew,
fucking Petawawa. You go. I mean, you want to be a comic.
Even Almont.
Even Almont, Ontario, or the Prior.
The three of us.
Prior.
The three of us were just in Van Cleek Hill. Like that's the thing. If
Van
nobody's
Cleek
giving you a path, make your own path. You gotta put the work in. That's it.
100%. And I did a show in Van Cleek Hill fucking years ago. And you're right. It's like
nice.
And I tell people it doesn't matter where it is. Was it Chrysler, Ontario? Chrysler?
Yep.
I remember I did a gig there with Rick Curry and Russell Peters.
Shit.
Incredible.
And it was a snowstorm. And it was Rick, me, and Russell. And Russell had his Lexus. Russell was still living in Toronto. Where the fuck are we going? I remember once I had a gig in Hawkesbury. And I'm leaving Ottawa. And the snow was so thick. You know you can't see a foot ahead of you on the 417?
Yeah.
I had to pull over. And I'm thinking, shit, I'm going to miss the gig. And I called, and then the OPP pulls up, and guy goes, go back to Ottawa. It's fucking closed. You're not going to make it to Hawkesbury. Where are you going to Hawkesbury? You're not going. So I called, and the guy goes, we were going to call you to cancel anyway. But a comic's like, I got to get to the gig.
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck, snow or not. I'm going fucking to the gig. So that's why I tell people the best advice I can give it helped me, it worked for me, is try to get on stage as much as you can.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt. And I tell comics, especially the Toronto, New York, or LA, if you get a chance to take an acting class, do it.
Yeah.
It's acting on camera. I remember I was at the actor studio in Toronto, or network. That's where Nev Campbell and Keanu Reeves went before.
Yeah. Ooh.
And then I went, and then I got other people to go, like Lou Eisen went, Ron Jossel, who all these comics go, and you're getting all these commercials. Yeah, because I thought, if I'm not doing this, it's still relative. Because the first film I did was in Ottawa called Two's a Mob with Derek Diorio and Dan Lalonde, who were from Skid Row, the improv group.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It was Dan Lalonde, who's a columnist now. He's a writer. We're good friends. And Derek Diorio. And it was a who's who in Ottawa. That was the first film I did. So that's why I tell people, do the comedy, do this. If you get a chance, another good piece of advice, at least take a class on acting camera class.
Okay, interesting.
Why not? You don't know. The guy sees you, then you know how a camera works, and you know how that works.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
No, interesting. No, it's great advice. We thank you for that. I know you got to go, so we're just going to skip right to our last segment, and it's called Final Thoughts. All right, final thoughts, where we go around the virtual room and we'll get everybody's final thoughts. I will start it off and just announce that Angelo, as he was saying before we started recording, will be in Ottawa August 21st at the Ottawa Greek Fest.
I'm there.
And August 22 and 23 at Yuck Yucks Ottawa West, which is downstairs in Biagio's. So you can go to your website, which is funnygreek.com. I've got that as well.
Better than Tsarouchas.
Yeah, funnygreek.com, and you can get tickets there. So I encourage you to go to that. So that is my final thought for today. Let's go to you, Jordan. Your final thoughts for this episode.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much on my shows. You guys can see all that on Instagram. I just want to say what Angelo said today is very important. I think especially newer comedians, if you're working on your material or just on your sets and stuff like that, and you have a comedian who's been through it, I've got really great advice from Jeremy Hotz, Angelo today. And at the time, I didn't think so, but it turned out it was fantastic advice from Tom Green. Listen to what they're telling you, because as much as it might come across a certain way, it is solid advice. There's a reason they're telling you that. It put that to what you're doing. So I want to thank Angelo. Honestly, man, it's an honor to do this with you. I'm glad you came to the podcast, man. It's awesome.
Me too.
Awesome. All right, Paul Bourgon, your final thoughts for today.
And Angelo, I'm super honored that you came on, man. Like I said, I saw you a long time ago. I knew you when I was young, working at the drugstore, but I never thought we'd get to this point now. But I'm so happy for you for all your success you've had, and it's really cool to see and to like try to take it in as yourself and think, oh man, like, you know, like look what you can do if you put your mind to something. You know, look what you can do if you're going through a hard time in your life. Look where it can bring you. You know, if you just stay focused. And you're right about getting up and doing as much stage time and doing as many. You're only as good as the amount of shows you have. It's very, very true, and I try to keep that in mind. Really, like I feel rusty when I'm not doing shows often enough. But again, man, I won't take up too much time. We'll leave it up to you. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I'll see you at the Greek Festival or at Yuck Yucks, one or the other. I'll come and say hi to you.
Awesome.
In the
Thank
words
you so
of
much.
Gary Busey, get some butter sausage. Butter sausage. You see that video? Like butter sausage and kiss honey on the lips. You got to do a great interview and do something really weird like butter sausage.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Angelo Tsarouchas, thank you so much. You have the final word, your final thoughts.
Look, this is great, guys. Thanks for inviting me on your podcast. You guys are great. Thanks for letting me yap off about stuff. I'm passionate about it.
Absolutely.
And good on you guys for doing this. This is very important what you're doing, bringing people together. And I love talking comedy. I love having the conversations. I love Ottawa, you know, and I never think you've climbed the mountain yet. You're always climbing, you know, so keep up the good work. I'm very honored to be on your podcast. Thanks for having me on it. And when I go to Ottawa, I want to get some butter sausage.
I'll bring the butter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll bring the butter sausage. Yeah, we'll have an egg roll when I get to Ottawa.
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, Angelo, the honor's been ours. We thank you, and we'd love to have you back anytime.
Sure.
So we continue this conversation. So thank you again. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Paul, and thank you to everyone out there watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.